Hi, Living Word parents, teachers. It's Miss Carol, and this Sunday school lesson is the last in this little particular series that we're doing, and it's called A Returning Truth. It is downloaded again below, as always, so you have the teacher's guide, so you're ready to teach. And it is the story of how Christ has promised to take us, God has promised to take us to heaven to live with him because of what Christ did. Because he died on the cross, rose again, defeated the devil, paid the penalty, and the sacrifice was accepted. So he will take us to live with him and in heaven. That is the objective that we want the children to know this weekend, that God has promised to take them, you, to heaven with him, and all believers to heaven to live with him forever. And it's the story about how John was exiled on the island of Patmos. Now get the kids, this is not Paul, different guy, new man, different guy, not the guy that changed his name, not the guy that was in prison, new guy, John. John was the only apostle that was not killed, but he was exiled and sent to live on the island of Patmos. And while he was there, he had a vision, he had a dream, and God told him what heaven would be like and told him, write it down. And so John did write down everything that he had seen in his vision, and that's what we know about what heaven is like. We don't know as much. She would have told us a lot more. We have a lot of questions. But God has chosen to tell us what he's chosen to tell us. And that's that it will be a happy place, a beautiful place, a new Jerusalem, a new heaven, a new earth. He's going to make everything new. Talks about the tree of life. Talks about gold and jewels and all this kind of thing. So review that story with your children. The teacher narratives are for older and younger children again, and are there available for you to use. Before you tell the story, you might want to do a launch activity, and the teacher's guide suggests to draw the children in, to get them started, is to talk about having to wait for things, waiting for your birthday, waiting for Christmas, waiting for Sunday school to be able to be in person again, and how it's hard to wait. And there are things that we have to wait for, like living in heaven with Jesus. You might also talk about what a different tact would be to say, what makes you happy? If you were going to go live in a new place, what would need to be in the new place to make you happy? And have the children tell you, well, mom would need to be there, dad would need to be there, my Xbox would need to be there, my blankie would need to be there, whatever would need to be there to make you happy. Well, God has promised to take us to live with him in heaven. He has promised that it will be a joyful place, that we will be happy to be there in his presence. You might also use that to field a few questions. I had questions a lot of times about my puppy died. Will my puppy be in heaven? Well, we don't exactly have a scriptural basis to know whether the puppy will be there or not. So we know that all believers will be there. So if Grandma died and Grandma was a believer, we know she'll be there. But my answer for the puppies was always, God has promised that you will be happy. So if your puppy has to be in heaven for you to be happy, then your puppy will be there. That's my answer. So you might want to use that if you get any questions like that from your children. After you have that discussion, tell the story about John on the island of Patmos. And then there are some discussion points here and some questions that you might want to ask. One that was interesting to me, I just hadn't thought about, was that because God's presence is light, and because being in his presence provides all the light we need, there will be no need for the sun and the moon in heaven. Scripture actually talks about that. just hadn't thought about it. That was interesting. Some of those questions may bring up some interesting discussion with your kids. And then there's the live page in the back, and that gives some ideas for some extra things that you might do with your children. The one I liked the best was using shaving cream to paint. I used shaving cream all the time. When I taught in school, we would draw letters in it. But it cleans the table nice, makes the room smell nice, all kinds of advantages. But if you spray a little bit of shaving cream, then the kids can spread it out on the kitchen counter or on a table that's not wood, and then they can draw their picture of heaven in the shaving cream. You can put maybe one drop of food color in it, and then they can swirl the food color around too. Don't get too hung up on whether it's really going to be in heaven or not. You want your kids to get the idea it's a safe place. It's a happy place. It's a place where I will feel secure and loved. So let them put whatever in their picture would make them feel that way. I think of the song Come and Go With Me. Come and go with me to my Father's house. Come and go with me to my Father's house. It's a big, big house with lots and lots of rooms. It has a big, big table with lots and lots of food. It has a big backyard where we can play football. Come and go with me to my Father's house. Anyway, are we really going to have a big backyard in heaven? We don't know. Are we really going to play football in heaven? I don't think I am. But it doesn't matter. It's this vision of a happy place, a secure place, a place where I'm loved. And so if they want to think about playing football in the backyard, that's a happy place. That's okay. That's what we want them to. We don't know what's in heaven. So none of us can draw a real picture of it. So we just have to go on what God has told us. And that's that it's happy, secure, and a place where we feel loved and we're in God's presence. He will be there with us. And we know He loves us. So we know nothing will take that love away. So I hope that you have fun envisioning that happy, loving place in heaven, because we know that nothing can take God's love away. God's love goes past this life into eternity, and nothing can take that love away. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Have a good week, imagining the wonderful place in heaven that we have because of what Christ did for us. Love you guys. Have a good week. Bye-bye.